This episode is brought to you by Airbus, U.S. Space and Defense. Marine Corps Expeditionary Advanced Base operations require logistical support when and where Marines need it. The Airbus UH-72 Unmanned Logistics Connector provides proven performance and reliability alongside next-generation autonomous capability. As the Marine Corps revolutionizes warfare, the UH-72 Unmanned Logistics Connector evolves to support it. Visit AirbusUS.com to learn more. That's AirbusUS.com. We would like to thank Airbus U.S. Space and Defense for sponsoring this episode. Hey, Scuttlebutt listeners. Welcome back. Day 2, Modern Day Marine. I'm here with William.
Howdy.
And we're here with, actually, I guess an old friend of mine now who we were served as Amtrackers together. He was a good officer and has continued on, but is no longer, I guess, technically in the Amtrak community. And here I am welcoming him. So, Colonel Jake Robinson, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So,
yeah.
We're not old, by the way.
Yeah, my knees would differ,
it's
it's
a relative.
Well, I mean, my knee sucks right now,
That's so true.
And
That's
I'm not
so true.
old, so we're all good. We're all good.
I think we are. Right. Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming, man.
It's not better. It's not better or worse either, right? It's just just got to hang around long enough. And
yeah. Well, see, you
hopefully
say
things
that.
will go your way.
You say that. I tried the I can fog a mirror thing, and it's here I am, right? And so you guys all sold me a bill of goods. You guys were actually good. I bought the bullshit, and so here we are. But I love it, and just happened to run into you. Was like, what the fuck's going on? And you happen to be the deputy commander for U.S. Forces, U.S. Marine Forces Korea. Did I say that correctly?
That's correct.
Yeah. And you're here at Modern Day Marine because you're with a Republic of Korea general officer who's been giving speeches and was on panels for partnering. How's that been? What's that relationship been like? Is that so when you're the deputy commander, is he the commander and he's your reporting senior?
No, he's so I work for a U.S. Marine two-star who is the commander of Marfil K.
Okay.
One of my boss's responsibilities, and by virtue of that, it's one of my responsibilities, is we are the partner day on, stay on.
Okay.
To the ROC Marine Corps, right? So they certainly work with the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
To include the MEFs and any of the training units, but from a staff level, we do a lot of the engagements and a lot of the the theater security cooperation requirements with the ROC Marine Corps staff, right? So think staff level, we're a component staff level, and really that's all Marfil K is really just a staff. I mean, we don't have a lot.
I was going to say, so you're not a combatant commander. You don't have troops.
I mean, no. So I mean, we are the Marine component.
Okay.
That works for the sub-unified command of U.S. Forces Korea, who is the 4-star commander on Korea, responsible for, the fighting the war with the with the North Koreans.
So this is so interesting, and one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on, other than just an excuse to bullshit and catch up with an old friend, is quite honest, after we started talking earlier, I realized I don't really know what Marine forces in Korea do. I kind of always just assumed Korea was like the Army's fight. Sure, if the balloon goes up, we'll be surging air to do, to support whatever maneuver and to hold the North at bay, launching from Oki and Iwakuni. Maybe a MEU goes in there and does a NEO or something, but the actual flow of the O plan doesn't really include a lot of Marines, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not, at least not the teeth of it. I don't know. So could you
It does actually.
Yeah, so please explain.
So how much time do we have? So
we got tons. I mean, on the low side.
Yeah, I know the and I had just asked, I jokingly asked about the. I think people don't appreciate the. Think about the most kind of challenging, like JTF, command structure and all that stuff you read in the joint publications.
Yeah.
And then add on, long-standing ally, add on, treaty responsibilities, and then add on the nuance of Combined Forces Command, which is a U.S. commander of a standing combined force, right? I mean, I think it's the only one that I'm aware of in the world that is a standing combined force, right? You walk into Combined Forces Command today, and there'll be ROC officers and ROC
the
soldiers.
COC is going to have
right next
Korean
to
dudes
U.S.
next to American
absolutely,
dudes.
and that's all the time, right? That's not just when we say go. It's not just when we turn on the switch.
Right.
That is the standing force, and then there are obviously, as things were to happen, there will be a transition point where that staff would kind of grow, and the U.S. would expand, and as well as the ROC would expand that staff as well too. The other unique, CFC is really unique in the sense that like the U.S. commander takes command of is the full-time commander. So General Cameron is the commander of Combined Forces Command, and in wartime, majority of the ROC military falls under Combined Forces Command.
No way.
Right? Yeah. So they still have sovereign. They still have ROC Joint Chiefs of Staff has some sovereign. Yeah,
he doesn't become the commandante of like the Koreans.
Yeah, he has some sovereign responsibilities, but from a execution of the fight in the context that we always think about it is U.S. Commander of Combined Forces Command over the ROC military, and where I'm going with that is just to kind of set it up. There's a unique structure then that all of the subordinate commands. It's similar to component commands across the JTF, where you'd have the kind of the JFAC and the JIFMIC and the JIFLIC, like those. Conceptually, it's the same, but you have, and I'm going to forget them all. I think there's 9 component commands. So there's but the one that's important to us as Marines in the context of this conversation is the Combined Maritime Component Command.
Okay.
So there's the land component command. There's the air, navy,
Naval,
sea. There's the Combined Naval Component Command. The maritime. There's the Combined SOF Command.
Okay, right.
There's the Combined Maritime. There's a MISO, so SIMISOC. So there's Combined MISO Special Operations Component Command as well too. So and those are all combined, right? And those stand up. Those are not standing commands. So in the same way that kind of roughly that I described, that's the forces would then join CFC, although CFC is...
But they would fall in on a structure. They're not... There's not like a guide on with Marines. And
that's right.
ROC
So in this case, a U.S. Marine 3-star becomes the commander of Combined Maritime Component Command. So CMCC, right? And so how do we fight? As Marine Corps, we fight with the MAGTAF, right? In this case, a 3-star MAGTAF is the MEF, right? So there is a U.S. MEF requirement to support U.S. forces or to Combined Forces Command.
Yeah.
When we go to war, they would then plug in, right? So it's more for PAC, right? Thinking about component and Indo-PACOM and sub-unified command, which is a whole separate conversation.
Aggregated on the move. It's not like one MEF just picks up and then becomes, or is that how it is? Is that how it works? Like,
it's I would say
they just move from Camp Pendleton to Seoul.
Probably closer to that.
Okay.
But I mean, there would obviously, depending on time phasing, right? There's obviously a flow, and the whole MEF's not necessarily going to pick up all at the same time.
Yeah, and essentially though, you're saying it's pretty close.
It would be sequencing a MEF. To be the command element, and then quite a bit of the forces, right? Whether those forces look like regiments or MUs or whatever they happen to be.
But it's not like how we were doing, sort of surge ops during the Long War, where you're like, hey, I'll just take these guys from here in this MU, and then I'll put these guys over here, and then, we're going to disband these dudes and then put them over, so like combining like in aggregate. Yeah,
probably less like that and more like,
they just pick
existing structure of the MEF.
Okay.
So in working with the Republic of Korean? Is it all branches or just Marines specifically?
So the last piece was just talking about was just the maritime component, just talking about the Marine Corps' relationship to Combined Forces Command, but it is absolutely all forces, right? So the Army provides forces. You know, 8th Army is the field army, but there are assigned forces to the plan from the U.S. Army, from Special Operations Command, from.
So in working with the South Koreans, do you find it's easy to communicate intellectually, doctrinally? Are they on the same page as us on how we would fight a war with North Korea? Or
great question. They are very much like us, right? Like if you think back to history, 1953, there wasn't a lot left in Korea, and I think they do truly appreciate us as one of their. I'm speaking for them right now, but at least from my experiences, they do truly appreciate our contribution to really their ability to be able to rebuild South Korea and be able to be where they are today. But they absolutely. So I think absolutely, from a doctrine standpoint, like you see it, and they're really one of our greatest allies. Like I believe that, like they go to our schools, we reciprocate, so I think there's a lot of those touch points as it relates to our allies. I think we're doing, from a, I would say it's a model perspective of how, they certainly have their own sovereign issues, and they have their own capabilities and requirements and things that they need to be able to do. But to your point, really, doctrine is pretty similar. I mean, they have a lot of similar equipment. We were just talking, the AV. You've worked with Korean AVs. They're the same as the AV. Aviation, they have some very, very similar aviation capabilities. They're partner with the F-35. They have F-35s. So if you look at the equipment set, I think that there's just on paper, if you look at the equipment set, you'd see a lot of the similarities, and I think that does really translate to doctrine, right? Which does make it quite easy to be able to work with them. Their corps look like our corps. Their Marine Corps is generally
their NCO ranks have the same.
Their Marine Corps is smaller, but it's very similar.
So what's an everyday for you like then, as the deputy commander? You're like, how would you equate it to? I know before we started recording, you were talking about, it's sort of the ideal model for theater security cooperation. So what is that? What is that like?
Yeah, I'm also the chief of staff as well too. The deputy commander is just a fancy way to say the chief of staff as well too. But because there is a 2-star and kind of the relationship, there's no separate chief of staff. So every day looks like every other chief of staff's day for me personally. But for the command, I think a couple of the things that I would say are really common threads is the relationship with the ROK Marine Corps, which we were talking about. Talking about before is the reason that I'm here with the force, the force design director from the ROK Marine Corps headquarters staff, and then it's really our relationship with the ROK Marine Corps staff as the kind of the face of the U.S. Marine Corps that's there every day, supporting them and ensuring they're doing things like helping them understand doctrine. We were talking about stand in force and 21st century amphibious operations, and they're interested in that because of that relationship. And then how do we adapt that relationship as we move forward, right? So as the U.S. Marine Corps changes, because we have that relationship with them, they need to make sure that they need to make decisions, right? They either need to come along to the degree that they have to, or want to, or they need to make deliberate decisions to go either way.
Right.
I mean, and they really are very closely aligned, and I think they're trying to make decisions to stay aligned with us as well too, because of the relationship that we have and the requirements that we have for them. The other piece is, we talk about. I mean, it's really theater level logistics and specific to the Marine Corps, right? And this is one of the Marine component responsibilities, whether you're Marfor PAC, whether you're Marfor Year, Marfor AF, right? There's a component that, or there's a component, and I don't want to use the same word in a sentence twice, but there is a part of being a component. There is a mission set where your responsibility is to be able to provide as a part of the Joint Force, to the Marine Corps, those specific things that the Marine Corps does, right? So the Army doesn't have AAVs, so
Right.
if we need replacement AAVs, it's our job to make sure we got the right level of sustainment at the theater level to be able to support, right? So call it setting the theater, right? And that really involves a lot of the operational level logistics support requirements through, as a component through USFK, right? So it's our responsibility through USFK to make sure that we have those unique Marine Corps things that we're representing the service to support the Marine Corps. In this case, that's why I started with the kind of layout of CMCC, right? So it's our job to make sure we do. The other piece is, RSO and I, so reception, staging, onward integration, right? Those forces you're kind of previously alluded to, like how is the MEF going to get there? Well, MAR4K's job is to make sure the MEF is able to come into theater, has a place to do it, and then has the ability to be able to get to the fight that they need to be able to support CMCC, and then has the ability to be able to do the theater level logistics to sustain those folks out in the front lines that are those Marines that are actually fighting with CMCC. So the theater level logistics, set the theater, what we call it is our line of effort that kind of encompasses that, and that's kind of the other kind of primary responsibility that I would say takes up the better part of our day.
And so for those who aren't aware, I mean, their Department of Defense, the ROK, is
called the MND,
the Ministry of Defense,
Ministry
right?
of Defense,
yeah. It's similar, right? They have and so I guess you then are partnering with the ROK Marine Corps. Is that correct, or are you with all of their land forces? Because they have a Marine Corps and they have an Army, right? They're not. It's not like when we would partner with host nations, say in Iraq and Afghanistan, they just had ground forces and then they had air forces.
Yeah.
They have specific branches within
the
government.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah,
To your previous comment, they look a lot like us, right? They have Special Operations Command.
Right.
They have they have an Army, they have an Air Force, they have a Marine Corps.
And so
they have a Coast Guard, they have, so I mean, really very similar. And I mean, I'm stalling right now trying to think of how they might be different as it relates to what your question. And nothing really stands out in terms of like, this is a significant difference. They are very similar, right? So Joint Chiefs of Staff, M&D level, just like DoD to the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff down through the service chiefs. I mean, size is the only difference. The Marine Corps is only, it's 30,000.
But those dudes are hard as woodpecker lips, man. Like I remember seeing some of those guys, and actually having worked with them. When we were out doing on UDP after 9/11, right? Like we were just partnering with everybody who's willing to join us in the fight, right? And it's ROK Marines were freaking hardcore, man.
And they're great. And I think that's one of the reasons we have such a good relationship with them. Like they're just, they'll do what our Marines will do, and all day long, and 7 days a week, twice on Sunday.
It's so great. So then, I guess the question that it leads into for me is, as they're looking at their sort of doctrinal, even their shifts, and whether they're going to come on with us and join us in this evolution, whether they're going to stay in place and just reinforce success. How does that then play as they are looking within their own MND at the other ground forces and component commands? Are they running into some of the same, I don't know, like juxtapositions or having to synergize on one level with themselves while also trying to synergize with us? Or like, is that a challenge for them, or do they not really?
Yeah, no.
Are they kind of like us? Like, the Army's going to do what the Army does. We do what we do.
Yeah, let me just correct or make clear something I said before. There was a hypothetical example of them potentially diverging from us. I don't think I don't believe that they will diverge from us. Right. So I think they.
But it is an option. Like you said, they're a sovereign country.
Yeah, they are a sovereign country, but we are so closely aligned, right?
Yeah.
they in their similarities to us, like I said, as it goes back to doctrine and training, like they're amazing.
So it's almost
in terms of-
symbiotic. Like
it really is, right? So I don't think that there's a concern that I'm not concerned,
Right.
that they would necessarily diverge. They just need to. They're trying to just. They're trying to understand and make sure that that they do align, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
but I mean, is it a concern though that
I think that so the parallels, they're literally. I laugh sometimes because they're exactly the same, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same, like, we talk about the Marine Corps and the roles and responsibilities, and you look back and we talk about our history about search for a mission and like hey, the Marine Corps. A lot of people don't think we need a Marine Corps. Like the parallels are amazing. Right? There's still. I mean, I just talking to my friends. There's like parallels still where people are like, why do we need a Marine Corps? Like the Rock Marine Corps. They're like, why do we? I was just having this conversation with Joan Beyond, who was the general, the Rock Marine general that I'm traveling with. I was just having this conversation with him the other day. Like there are people that believe that they, help me understand again. Why, if the Army does this, why do we need a Marine Corps? Why do I need this other person to do the same thing? So it's just, I mean, I laugh because I'm like, it's just a lot of the same parallels, right? So it's, you spend a lot of time really trying to communicate, like, why do you need a Marine Corps, right? And why is it unique? And what specific capabilities does it provide? And like, why can't somebody else do it, right?
Right.
Why can't the Air Force just fly all the planes? And why can't the Army just have all the ground troops? And that's just the way that we're going to be, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that's common amongst, or really common between us. And again, like I said, I was laughing because I was like, that's a very common refrain where it's like, I think we sometimes, right, for people that don't really think about it all the time, they might ask, well, why do we need that? Why do we need a different force, right? Why does you've heard the adage before, why does Navy has a bigger Air Force than most countries' Air Forces, right? It's like so I think that parallel. I mean, I like I said, I laugh because it's an amazing parallel between what we do, we being the U.S. and then what their military does, and then it gets even more specific when you start talking about the Marine Corps and the potential challenge, right? So I mean, I would say there's common challenges, challenges from resources, challenges from capabilities, challenges
same
from
food fights, just
same
different
food
cafeteria.
fights, same money, right? Like they're a smaller service, right? I mean, they're a smaller service. Their commandant's only a 3-star, so at least back in the 80s we got a 4-star. It's like we became a chairman of the joint, became a member of the Joint Chiefs Staff. So like there's amazing parallels there, right? So they are disadvantaged in sometimes in those ways, but again, it just further emphasizes the point that I'm making, which is like the parallels are amazing in terms of them trying to hey, what's our mission, what's our role, how do we fit, continuing to advance and modernize, and that's really another thing that we're trying to do as well too, right? And in the spirit of Marine Corps and force design and why we're here at modern, one of the reasons we're here at Modern Day Marine is really to advocate, like we at Mar4K are trying to advocate that to the Rock Marine Corps. Is really continue, just let us, how can we help modernize, how can we help make advancements, how can we help make sure that we're being our best every day, and we're continuing to move forward and continuing to refine our ability to be able to do what it is we ultimately have to do. So.
And what do you think their thoughts are on like force design, expeditionary advanced basing, stand-in forces?
And again, I think their concern is that same concerns that every Marine, U.S. Marine had the first time we started talking about the operational concepts that underpin force design. They're like, what about amphib ops? And like, how am I going to go ship to shore? And like what is this force going to, what are these small forces going to do? And how am I going to be able to aggregate and I don't want to dredge this up because this is
that's some dirty water.
But it is the premise of a lot of those arguments, right? And they're good arguments, right? It's what we do, right? Like we have discussions and debates and talk about advantages and disadvantages and pros and cons, right? It's the premise of all of those is really the same questions that they're asking, right? So like, okay, what does this mean? So two things, right? What is it to talking about our alignment with them? What does it mean for them? Does it necessitate change?
Right.
And what does it mean for our relationship with them? Because again, ultimately, if we were to go, if we, not that we would do this, but just a, very extreme example, if we were to go and do something completely different, right? The U.S. Marine, if the American people through Congress were to say, hey, the Marine Corps, your mission tomorrow is like,
go to Antarctica and kill all the penguins.
That's right.
Yeah.
If we become the penguin the penguin killers of the Department of Defense, that then would not align to what their nation is asking them to do. Right? So I think that's their concern, is just like trying to be able to frame it and see like, okay, how much is this? What does this mean? And then how does it affect our relationship?
Yeah.
Right? How does it affect our partnership? How does it affect the alliance and the relationship between the Rock Marine
we would
Corps?
love to come hang out with you guys, but we don't have any vested interest in
Yeah,
Antarctica.
that's right. I mean, for us,
and we just kind of like penguins.
That's right.
So,
I mean, maybe you're your closest brother and sister in the world, but at the end of the day, if your sovereign national requirements are so divergent that you just don't.
I'm going to
have
continue to
anything in
beat this Antarctica penguin hunting thing to absolute.
It's probably
everyone's
good.
tired.
So you can probably use it as an analogy for just about anything. Right?
Absolutely. Well, we'll get the EPA on us. I mean, no
I'm
such thing as bad press.
endorsing it. I'm just saying, like, what?
No, we're endorsing this.
Okay, all right, okay. Here we go.
I mean,
We're going to set up a different booth.
But only if it's in the national interest, right?
Right.
Like,
Of
and
course.
I don't determine what the national interest is.
Can I palm for it?
Yeah, that's right. Like
You don't, but I do. I'm the taxpayer.
Yeah, that's
so.
right. Well, I pay taxes too. But great point. Like, if our elected officials determine that it is in the national interest by virtue of the American citizens that elect them that this is the right thing to do, then it does what it's told.
Penguins beware. All right, man, dude. Thank you so much. This has actually been very illuminating. And I obviously showed my ass, and like I don't really know as much, but it's been very helpful to see like what is the role of, like you said, our probably, I hate to say most reliable, but our at least the longest standing partnership, sort of an ideal relationship, not just in structure but in practice. And it's and for the very limited times I've served with Rock Marines, it's been super. I'm having a lot of fun. Those guys are great. So I'm glad that you get to do it on a daily basis.
Yeah, they're awesome partners, awesome allies. It's like to your point about, really, I think it is an ideal relationship, right? And it really goes back to all the things we talked about at the panel discussion, right? Shared values. It's it's driven by like-minded folks focused on the things that they have to do, right? And it's really because of the daily relationships, right? Like, we don't have a MARFOR in any, we don't have a MARFOR who is directly aligned to another nation's Marine Corps in the same anywhere else in the world, right? I mean, we have MARFOR year and a half, right?
Staffs.
But they're not directly aligned to a single, Marine. And obviously, they're representing the Marine Corps to all of the Marines in their respective areas of responsibility.
Right.
But our relationship is unique with the ROC and specifically in the case of U.S. Marine Corps Forces Korea with the ROC Marine Corps.
Yeah. Well, Jake, man, thanks so much for being here. This has been really great.
Thanks for having me. Glad we had a chance to catch up. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Vic, want him with the last one?
No, that's sort of your guys' bread and butter. Go ahead.
All right, what's the best day in the Marine Corps you've ever had? Throw this as a wrench at the end of the question. Once you got the intellectual side of you out.
Yeah, well, this might be intellectual too. Who knows? No, I probably won't be. It won't be intellectual.
Dude, remember, I know you.
saying you met Vic is also an acceptable answer.
Yeah,
but then we would also know it's a lie.
might be able to, if I think about this for a minute, I can probably remember the first time we met.
I mean, it's somewhere in Carlsbad, I'm sure.
Yeah, you were probably, because you were in Torrent Palms, right?
Yeah,
so it would have
and
been.
I'd come down.
Yeah.
Got a little too overserved.
That's probably not true. I don't know. I think you're overestimating what happened to you, because I don't think that happened.
I bet it had to be with Tunney. Would Tunney have been the link, or Hunziker?
It's probably Philos, right?
Or Philos, yeah. There's so many suspects. It's like Usual Suspects.
Yeah, it's somebody.
Yeah,
right?
it's a lineup. We need to get a lineup.
Yeah, it's somebody. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are probably commiserating being outside of the desert.
Number 5, step forward and say, "Get out of the car, you cocksucker." No, it's not that guy. Yeah, what's your best day, man?
Yeah.
Or you can pick multiples.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, getting commissioned was a pretty good day. I mean, I wouldn't say that every day is my best day. I mean, I think that would be disingenuous of me to say that. I mean, I think there are, it's interesting I would not say a single point in time, but maybe an idea, right? And it's the idea you walk around here, right? And you used to run into people and, hey, I know that person and we used to work together and we used to do this, right? So, I mean, I think the idea of any day where it strikes you that maybe you had a positive impact, right? And there's a whole bunch of those days, right? But I think any of the times where you're like, you know what, that made a difference, right? Or it's some interaction with somebody's life, or they interacted with your life, right? Like I think any of those days, I think are pretty good days, right? I think they're the ones that, if you're sticking around for the right reasons, right? Like accomplish the mission first, but then there's the Marine side of it. So I mean, anytime I think you have a positive impact or were positively impacted by another Marine, I think that's probably a pretty good day. So I would roughly summarize that. So that's not answering your question directly.
No, it's perfect. Switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I like we're going for the
I
theme.
don't always like to speak in absolutes, right? Because there's like,
yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by the Marine Corps Association and Modern Day Marine, calling all Marines and their families. Gear up for the Modern Day Marine Expo at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center, going April 30th to May 2nd. Uncover the latest military innovations, and don't miss the exclusive Military Spouse Summit. Hear firsthand from leaders about policies impacting and supporting Marine Corps families. It's your chance to be informed and connected. Secure your spot today. Visit MarineMilitaryExpos.com for more details and to register. That's MarineMilitaryExpos.com. Scuttlebutt is a production of the Marine Corps Association. You have heard the voices and contributions from Major Vic Rubel, USMC retired, Nancy Lichman, William Trudy, and our guest. Ty Frazier is the editor, sound engineer, and technical producer. The Marine Corps Association is not an agency of the U.S. government. The opinions expressed in this episode are the personal views of the participants and do not reflect the official position of the United States Marine Corps, the Department of Defense, or the Marine Corps Association.